If you thought the tournament was wild before, the World Forger just upped the stakes by ripping open fissures into some of our favorite Indian crossover universes. We're talking Man of Steel going toe to toe with depravity of Homelander, Diana testing her blade against Red Sonja, and in a matchup I thought I'd never see, Lex Luthor coming face to face with the most terrifying hardware store owner in comics, Samantha Strong, from beneath the trees where nobody sees. King Omega Tournament is no longer just a DC fight, it is a multiversal energy harvest. And, Final Four coming back changed. So grab your gear because we're doing a page by page breakdown of every crossover battle and the return of the temporary eight, temporary meaning this issue, and what that means for the massive finale in issue number 4. Let's dive in. Hey there, you mean DC fans, and welcome if you are new. I am Mantis, and what happens when the DC multiverse runs out of juice? You go shopping in someone else's. Welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be breaking down the absolute insanity that is DCKO Boss Battle 1. So Grodd and the World Forger escaped their small battle with Darkseid / Booster Gold and the Watchtower, and teleported to the war-torn and almost transformed into the apocalyptic version of the surface of Earth. They look upon the 4 remaining champions, along facing the Absolute Universe's Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, along with, that Booster Gold possessed by Darkseid. World Forger knows that the remaining champions are probably not going to be able to win a fight against the 4 Absolute versions. So he uses his power to freeze them, or in time. The Joker, thinking like me, why don't they just kill them now while they're all frozen? Just pop them. World Forger explains that if they were, tempted to be harmed, the stasis would cease and the Absolutes would wipe the floor with them. Of course, how convenient. And, World Forger brings back 4 of the previously defeated champions, Black Lightning, Plastic Man, Batwoman, and Sapphire. Why did I say that weird? Gotta say, I would have chosen very different ones, personally. He then opens a rift across the multiverse, where the remaining 4, plus the revived, must fight champions and harness Omega energy. And in they go. But where will they end up? Black Lightning and Plastic Man land in the middle of another tournament. The Overseer here, Shang Tsung, is angered by the interruption and tells them they must fight against Sub-Zero in Wonder Woman appears in what looks like, pretty familiar setting for her, a Coliseum, kind of. But in a 1v1 fight, she must face the Crimson She-Devil, Red Sonja. And let's just hope Conan isn't going to join, or Wonder Woman might be in trouble. The Joker ends up in a quaint farmhouse yard. However, entering the building there, he finds something possibly even more evil than he is. And likewise, Batwoman kicks open the castle door and finds someone who doesn't just cosplay as a bat, Vampirilla. Sapphire lands in the suburbs of Greendale, where her violet ring may not be able to combat the power of a witch, albeit she's just a teenager. But Sabrina can throw some spells around, and her first produces a power wave, flipping a car and knocking Star Sapphire away. Lex lands in the forest where he hears something dripping, and it doesn't take long for us to find out what that is. Hanging upside down is a gutted rabbit, and none other than Samantha Strong, a serial killer bear. Yep, that's a thing. She immediately lunges at him, trying to stab him, but misses. And Lex rolls over and blocks the next strike with his armor, and then knocks her back with a follow-through. She's a tough bear, though, and comes at him once again. So switching over, Superman ends up in a metropolis-looking city. However, the Vought American building gives it away that the boys are back in town. He hears a possible crime in progress and lands where he meets one of those boys, Homelander, holding someone's dismembered arm. Back in the Shirai Ryu looking arena, Sub-Zero has blasted Black Lightning and Plastic Man with an ice attack to be distinct there, freezing them. And luckily, though, Plastic Man had encased them both in, well, himself. Busting out of the ice, Lightning shocks Sub-Zero and Plastic Man smashes him. A fist bump from the two think the fight is over, but it's far from it. They will have to. And not on a parked car for a high score, as Scorpion enters, throwing his harpoon hitting Black Lightning. And again, he tries Plastic Man, but Plastic Man dodges that attack and grabs Scorpion and throws him into Sub-Zero, and Black Lightning shocks them both for the tag team takedown. The fight between Red Sonja and Wonder Woman is a classic brawl. Both trade weapon strikes while admiring each other's fighting styles. Now, Sonja blocks one of Wonder Woman's attacks with her shield and lands a shield blast, knocking her to the ground. That's when Sonja tries to seize her advantage and rushes at Diana to land the killing blow, but Diana brings her bracers together, releasing a shockwave blast, knocking them both back. Back to the boys. Superman, still trying to be polite, he is a Boy Scout, first tries to explain to Homelander why he is there, but Homelander already assumes he's there to, throw down. So he starts charging his eyes. Superman does the same, and both heat vision beams meet in the middle as equal power. Superman realizes he's going to have to try something else. So he dives into the ground and rockets upward from right beneath Homelander, landing a powerful uppercut. A little blood never hurt anyone, especially Homelander. So he returns a favor and with a flying attack right to Superman's chest. As the battles rage on in the multiverse, the Omega energy is being gathered into the World Forger's hammer. It eventually becomes too much for him to keep the fissures under control. However, and falling into the Grodd's arms, he's passed out. With the fissures out of his control, they begin to collapse onto each other. So Joker's having a little tea time with Annabelle, and it seems to be going a little too well. He ends up getting a little angry at the demon-possessed doll that her stories are funnier than his. So he smashes a teacup and is about to hit her with it. But then we see the start of those multiverse rifts merging as Superman and Homelander crash through the wall. With Joker for sure, he saw that doll move. Superman gives Homelander a good headbutt, knocking him to the ground. Getting back to Star Sapphire and Sabrina, the witch's spell seems to have gone awry, and thinking she has stopped it, another rift opens, spilling the third round of Mortal Kombat into the Greendale subdivision. As Batwoman hip tosses Vampirilla, she notices something very strange. All the rifts have merged into the Red Sonja Coliseum, and it is utter chaos as the fights between everyone break out in a battle royale. With time ticking down, the World Forger recovers from his nap and grabs the hammer. And Grodd reaches out and connects with the champions. With this connection, the World Forger begins gathering all the Omega energy he can from the multiverse visitors, channeling it all into his hammer, and sends those visitors back to their respective universes. With the multiverse battle royale over with, the resurrected champions fade back into their KO tournament game pieces. And the Omega power has been collected. The World Forger channels it into the remaining 4 heroes there, sending their powers to greater heights, and hopefully enough of it to compete with Darkseid's absolute champions. As the champions stand there, still wondering if the Omega energy they've been infused with is enough, the World Forger knows. It will have to be enough. It's time. Time to finish it. And all that stands in the way of victory and saving the universe is Absolute Wonder Woman, Absolute Batman, Absolute Superman, and Booster Gold controlled by Darkseid himself. All right, guys. Thanks for sticking around for the whole video. This is the last issue we have up until the DCKO 4, which should be the conclusion of the main tournament. Hopefully it's the end of it. We never know. But we got these things starting to tie back together. Batman's coming back in, but in this issue, I thought it was a little interesting twist bringing in other WB properties like the Conjuring universe with Annabelle or Mortal Kombat. Some collaborations there with the Samantha Strong short story comic book series there. Just interesting twists and turns there. So pretty interesting stuff. But now we know what happened. So they've got enough power. The final four champions have enough power, but can they beat the absolute versions of themselves as well as Darkseid? I can't wait to find out in that issue 4. So again, thanks. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell notification so you know when a new video comes out for the DCKO event or any of the Absolute series we're doing for those comics as well. So again, I want to thank everyone one last time. And until next time, later.